Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another Man on Blade to a Bannerlord video. Today we are diving in at this pretty huge dev dump diary where they basically outline everything they're going to be working towards over the next handful of patches and onwards, and there's some pretty major things in here, so it's going to be exciting to go ahead and dive through this. I will be playing some of the old realms of Warhammer mod that recently got its biggest update on the in the background for you guys as well to kind of spice up it, so it's not just me reading off the forums. And finally, I also want to go ahead and give a big shout out as well to Stan Games and Tutorials. I follow him for basically all these little update videos because he does trawl the forums and yeah, looks for dev replies and kind of see what they're saying, because the developers are pretty active on the forums, and that's kind of how I was alerted to this. So go check out his channel. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description if you're interested to all that stuff, you know, kind of re-seeing, kind of keeping up to date with the nitty gritty of Bannerlord, and he also does tutorials and other stuff like that. So definitely go check out his channel. So yes, we got a pretty big information dump, and there's some major things coming, which is super exciting. I'll run through basically everything in this list, and as you can see, there is quite a lot of it. But I will definitely highlight and kind of go on a bit more about other stuff. So we'll just start at the top and work our way down, and there's some really good things in here, especially this armor effectiveness thing down here. So first things first, we have cutscenes they are planning on adding in, and this was on the previous roadmap. Adding in more cutscenes, I imagine, for stuff like marriage, having children, even though that'd be kind of weird having a cutscene detailing how you conceived a child, but maybe birth or something else along them lines, like your children coming of age, and also maybe having like kind of more events in the world of Calradia. Maybe like this could lead on to later on down the line, having a sick cutscene that, you know, but something's happening the other side of the world. You're in Valandia, and maybe the Kazite Khan has united the tribes and is going on a rampage, and you get a cool cutscene. Stuff like that would be great. Again, with like the Empire, maybe the Empire forms into one. I know I'm kind of like wishing that we'd get these kind of really cool endgame events like that, but still, it's great we're getting cutscenes that could definitely lead on to more exciting things, and also be great for models as well. And again, I think it's really good for something like detailing stuff that you're maybe not a part of. You get a cutscene like, oh, you know, so-and-so's done this, and it kind of gives you a bit more information about the rest of Calradia and kind of really brings Calradia to life. So that's great. We then also are getting more scenes. That's something that they're constantly working on, especially with the brand new battle terrain system. They're constantly adding in more battle maps, more sieges, more town scenes, just stuff to go ahead and bring Bannerlord alive and just make it so that you're not fighting on the same battlefield over and over again, which is always exciting and cool. They also want to improve sieges, just basically making the AI handle them better. I imagine that's a constant struggle and something they constantly need to improve on. And with battles, so this is also an interesting one. They want to go ahead and prevent the spawn camping, as they say it, where reinforcement troops will basically spawn on top of you, which is interesting because I honestly don't think that's a huge issue. You know, where the AI just kind of spawns in troops and then like they're on top of you and you're fighting them. I personally think the bigger issue is the way that the AI handles reinforcements, where you have your reinforcements spawn in and then the attacking player has to retreat back to gather up all their reinforcements, and as they do that, they get slaughtered. They lose like hundreds of soldiers. I think that's the bigger issue, but maybe they can find a way to kind of kill two birds with one stone by dealing with this. If they can have more of a dynamic spawning system, then maybe the AI won't have to fall back. They don't have to go all the way back to their spawn to go ahead and collect their soldiers to then come back and attack. So hopefully they can kind of deal with that, because yeah, it's super frustrating, especially when you're part of an attacking army and they're getting stuck in, they're winning the battle, and then the reinforcements spawn, and then they have to basically turn their backs and get cut to pieces by the enemy archers or by infantry as they basically turn their backs and run away to regroup. So hopefully that can kind of deal with that. And it'll be exciting. It's good that they're addressing something like that, and as I said, hopefully they can deal with it. Then we get this big one right here. Armor effectiveness. So they're going to basically revisit the armor values and the armor statistics, because right now in Bannerlord you can be in the best armor in the game and a peasant can throw a rock and do like 40 damage to you, or a rogue arrow from halfway across the map comes in, hits you in the stomach, and you're like on 20 HP, which is just stupid. It's really ridiculous. Armor has no value, and that's why so many people use mods like Realistic Battle, because it makes armor values way more effective. And you want to have the really good soldiers in the best armor actually represented by that. I don't want one of my best legionaries to be killed by 2 or 3 peasants. Granted, if there's like 50 peasants, yeah, they could probably break him down and overrun him, but yeah, 2 or 3, he could easily do that in his full-on scale armor or whatever. So we're going to be going back and basically taking a look at all of the armor systems, which is awesome, and making armor way more effective at the higher tiers, which is exactly how it should be. And because of that, they're going to be adding in main hero battle death. So basically, you can now die in battle. They are giving you an option to obviously turn this off if you don't want it, but your character, the main player, will have a chance of actually dying in battle, which is kind of interesting. I imagine this will be for more of the hardcore players, for sure. But yeah, now you have that extra armor, and it's going to be, if you do invest in that more defensive stuff, it's going to be harder for you to be taken down. You can now die, and I guess that will probably relay more onto the other players, the other AI systems as well. Now that kind of, I guess they're looking at it for the player, I'm sure that will trickle down for the AI as well. Obviously, the AI can already die, but I'm sure they'll implement better systems. Now that the player has to deal with it, that will also affect the AI. So we'll get more of that kind of rebirth, I guess, in the campaign of new characters rising to the top. And I assume, you will have ways of replenishing your clan as well if you do die in battle without an heir. I'm sure there's a way for you to continue. I doubt it will just be game over, but maybe it will be. Maybe they'll go for a super hardcore mode of just like an Iron Man mode, where if you die, it's over, and if you don't have an heir, then you suck and it's GG and the campaign is over, which would be goddamn crazy. And I imagine a lot of people will save scum that. But we'll have to see, maybe if you have really good armor, the chances of you being killed are like minuscule, but you have like a big chance of just being wounded. Whereas if you're wearing like cloth armor, maybe the chances of you being killed are much higher, and the chances of you being wounded is much lower. We'll have to see how that works. And I would also love like persistent injuries as well. If you, now that they are adding in like more like the ability to die, it'd be great if maybe you could kind of like break your arm and that affects your stats for a little while, or something else along them lines that isn't just like, oh, you're dead or you're wounded. Like maybe you get wounded and then there's a chance that you have like a reoccurring injury that could affect your campaign, and you have to go to like a medic to heal that stuff. That'd be kind of a cool way of kind of introducing more of like a, I guess, kind of a value of having better armor. Maybe you don't get mortally wounded, but you get like, you get beaten up and you deal with that. Then we move on later on. So yeah, they're kind of like the big ones right here, which is always cool. Like the main hero def and armor efficiency is pretty big, and yeah, I'm really excited for armor efficiency. That's going to be very exciting. They didn't talk about combat mechanics as well. That's of course going to be a big thing with the armor. And it kind of leads into that as well. But basically what we want to do is they want to kind of really focus in on more kind of combat mechanics of like more knockdowns, pushbacks, and dismounting enemy units, and making that harder, kind of making the more elite units, that will, I guess, making that affect the more elite units less. So if you're more of a novice soldier, you're going to be receiving more knockbacks and pushbacks and stuff like that, whereas the more elite you are, the less you're going to take that. And they definitely say they want to do that for more hero characters as well. So hero characters that are more skilled at fighting will be receiving these kind of, I guess, status effects of way less often than kind of the menial soldier, which will hopefully make them stand out a bit more and make them more interesting and kind of, I guess, stick around in a battlefield than just roaming around and getting one shot by a lance. And again, the armor effects is all going to kind of interact with that. So basically, you can really start to see their main philosophy here is to make the more elite units feel more elite and make them feel stronger and less likely to be knocked down and less likely to be killed and staggered, and their armor is going to be way more effective. So I definitely like that. That's how it should be, and that definitely does sound like a good direction for the combat in the game. They're also massively improving the army improvements, which is so needed. My god, I played like, I don't know, maybe 3 campaigns on stream. Granted, they were heavily modded, but even still, the AI just doesn't do anything. I played so many campaigns with like 15 to 20 hours in each one, and no territory changed hands, like maybe a castle here and there. But I'm literally telling you that like the AI just didn't do anything. They roamed around with their armies and just stood around doing nothing, fighting a battle, maybe sieging and then breaking the siege. And oh my god, that was mind-numbingly boring. I want to see factions rise to power. I want to see these kingdoms take over and eliminate other ones. It makes the campaign interesting for when I go independent and when I have this big bad threat that I have to deal with or, you know, take down. I'm not saying necessarily that I want every campaign to be a steamroll by a certain faction, but, you know, I want factions to win wars and lose wars, and that is something that it does look like that they are trying to deal with this post, saying less patrolling, less starving, less recruiting, and basically just more sieges, more sieges, more sieges, more sieges. So we are going to start seeing the AI actually do something in war, which is great, something we definitely need to be seeing. So pretty much just improving the AI army, AI, so that they don't have to worry, I guess, as much of cohesion, don't have to worry so much about recruiting constantly, and I guess better food management as well. Yes, we need this because, yeah, right now, nothing happens on the campaign map. And granted, I don't want to go back to the days where the Kuzites would just overrun everybody, every single campaign. But I do want that, you know, I do want the AI, I do want AI kingdoms to get strong and overthrow the other ones. And kind of be that interesting thing, you know, 10, 15 hours into a campaign. You know, I want some kingdoms to be stronger than others and, you know, kind of rise up. So hopefully we'll start to see that. And yeah, not necessarily a snowball every single time, but maybe a small snowball for some factions. Definitely. They're also planning on adding in more party templates as well. So this is basically, they maybe want some characters to have more archers in their army, or more cavalry, or more infantry, depending on the personality of the character itself. Again, that is awesome. That's great. We definitely need more of this right now. Characters and yeah, people, generals, commanders in Bannerlord are basically like a cardboard box. They have no personality whatsoever, so, and everybody's pretty much just exactly the same. So if we can start getting this, start getting some more information on, like, oh, this guy favors a lot more archers, he's more of a Battanian, kind of Battanian hunter, and he's gonna have a lot more archers. That makes things a bit more interesting and exciting, because you kind of slowly, I mean, no, not really, but you kind of also have to kind of start thinking about who you're taking on and what type of troops they are going to be bringing to the battlefield. Again, it's not going to be a huge thing, but hopefully this is a step forward in making characters feel unique in the world of Calradia. Disorganized state, I don't even know what this is. They've gone ahead and overviewed the conditions for disorganized state, which temporarily weakens parties. I actually have no idea what this is. Is this when you, like, don't have any food, or you lose a battle or something? I actually have no idea, but I'm sure you guys can let me know down below in the comments. They are then changing up the weapons as well, which is always good, making some more crafted items as well. It'd be awesome if we got crafted armors, just saying. That'd be a very exciting thing if we could start crafting armors as well, as they overhaul the crafting unlock system. As well. They're also planning on redoing the economy, or at least changing up some calculations with the economy. This is good. I still think we need more for the economy. The economy actually is fundamentally really, really good. It has all the features that you would love to see. There's just no secondary layer to it, if that makes sense. It feels like there's a couple links missing in the chain to the economy, because you can starve out a city, you can, like, gouge prices, you can, like, do, like, stop caravans from entering cities, but there's no, like, additional layer to that. There's no effects because of that. And I think the game definitely does need to focus in the future on adding in them effects, you know, making it so that cities can have way more, like, kind of, you know, maybe there's, like, population gets really unhappy because they've got no food, and that causes to more rebellions or more riots, or, like, maybe that means that the peasants are paying taxes, and then because they're not paying taxes, the lords can't recruit as many soldiers. You know, there's, like, these cause and effects that need to come from the economy that just aren't there in the game, but it has all the fundamental layers, so it's kind of like so almost there, but because the AI doesn't care about it and the AI just carries on, like, them causes just have no effect, and it's really yeah, it's like so close to being amazing, and hopefully Tailwolves can take that further in the future. They're changing the way that recruiting balances helps, which is good. They do mention that recruits are very plentiful and also pretty high tier as well, so I don't know, like, yeah, I definitely think that the AI recruits instantly, and there needs to be, again, more cause and effect. If you lose a big battle, you shouldn't be able to instantly just go and recruit an entire army like the game does do. Again, I feel like there needs to be some form of like population system where if you constantly recruit from a village, it's gonna slow down the rate of which recruits are available, not only for the player but also for the AI. Again, you fight a battle with like 2,000 Empire soldiers, you kill that army, 2 seconds later, all the lords have escaped your prisons and they're recruiting soldiers and you're fighting another 2,000 man battle. There needs to be like more impactful engagements. I don't want to fight 50 2,000 man battles. I want to fight 1 or 2 and then I want to conquer castles because I've defeated them in the open field. That's how the game should run, in my opinion. And hopefully, again, they're looking forward to adjust that. I think they're mainly focusing here on not being able to recruit super elite units, so you'll be going up against lower tier armies. But even still, you know, I think, again, recruits should not be as plentiful as they are, and also more child generations as well, which will be interesting. So if lords do die in battle, they'll have more children of various ages to take their positions. They also talk about going ahead and respecking as well, so you'll be able to respec some of your skills, maybe in the late game, which is good. You know, sometimes I do want to replace it and deal with that. And then just kind of more general overviews as well, updating the encyclopedia. Again, I would love to have a pinned menu where I could pin characters of interest or cities or something where I can quickly access it with the encyclopedia. That'd be a really cool thing, kind of like how Paradox have it. That'd be very, very nice. More party management as well is always nice, and more civilian scenes as well. Definitely very good. And then just kind of general improvements across the board with more, you know, kind of more sounds and more campaign map updates and stuff like that. So that was it. And also, they also continue to mention that we spoke about banner bearers, claimant quests, sally outs, and more voice lines. And that's something that they're still pursuing, but it's taking them longer than they expected to go ahead and do that, which is understandable. So yeah, a massive roadmap we just got there. Really, really cool stuff. Like, definitely super impressed with what is coming, and it's very exciting, especially armor efficiency. That's going to be super exciting to see how that all goes down. The better AI improvement armies, super needed. I definitely like the, you know, kind of some of the economy changes. Hopefully we'll see more of that in the future. Being able to respect your character is also really nice. So there's plenty of stuff that we are hopefully going to be seeing in the future coming to Bannerlord over the next handful of patches. And it's great, again, big shout out to the developers for posting this, because this is definitely something they don't have to do. But it's very nice that they have kind of put this down and given us as a community basically an idea of what is on its way for Bannerlord. So yeah, big shout out to them. And there you go. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you guys happy with this? Is this something that you are looking forward to? Did you want more stuff added into it? And again, this is a single player as well. This doesn't talk about multiplayer features that are also going to be in the future updates, and that is something that they are quite actively working on right now with the private servers and modded private servers and other stuff like that. So yeah, super exciting stuff. Can't wait to see exactly you know, what they're planning for the multiplayer side as well. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this. If this is good, if this is bad, would you rather something else? And do you agree with their changes and their improvements that they're making? And I'll see you guys in the next one.